One of the main reasons that I wanted to do more of this, like I wanted to do members only vlogs, is because I really missed the garage monologues. The cat was literally just about to try and knock the camera off the chair, so that tells you what kind of company I'm keeping here right now. We'll see what the other one does. There's just so much going on, and it's so hard to keep everything straight, and especially when I went from having a conversation with you every day to now, monthly or weekly or whatever, and I just want to keep the conversation alive, and I feel like I also want to make sure that I'm providing extra for my patrons, and now I've opened memberships on YouTube as well for the people that don't want to do Patreon. There are a number of people that have very vocally said they don't want to work with Patreon over the years. I'm just waiting to see if these cats like what they're doing with my coat now. It could have an adverse effect on the camera sitting on the chair that the coat is hanging off of. We'll find out. I see you watching me from there. But I want to be able to maintain that conversation in one way or another as well. So it's a combination of wanting to make sure I'm adding something, but slowly you'll notice that I didn't talk about doing this before. I haven't promised it publicly that I'm going to be doing this because I want to ease into whatever the next stages of producing videos and content for YouTube and everything. I want to make sure that I do it in a healthy way that's sustainable and that I don't go totally crazy. So in today's members only, the very first ever video, I wanted to talk a little bit about the secret projects. To give you a little bit of context of where those are at, where I'm at, I thought I'd talk a little bit about some of the books that I'm reading, because I've been reading a lot of books at different paces, and I've really been enjoying getting back into reading, something that I pretty much completely let go while I was daily vlogging, and then just kind of see where it goes from there. I'm a little bit lower energy. I was like, my energy was coming back up earlier, and it's come back down because of secret project number 1 today. Nothing bad, but a little bit disappointing, but I'm having some mixed emotions about it. So that's but I'll tell you a little bit about it here in a second. Why don't we just start there? I made a little shrine to the driver's ed book here that I left for Lindsay because she was supposed to take it with her on her train journey to Switzerland and start studying. And guess where I found it? In a pile over there. So I've created a nice little reminder for her that it's time to get to studying on. Just a little bit of light pressure between friends, Anywho, secret projects. One of the cool things, I'm really excited. I got my driver's license when I was burned out, and I'm really excited to put this together. Like I made a whole video about it, I think, and it's an experiment on, I guess what you could call I have future exploits planned. Like I really want to I haven't told anybody this publicly. I've told friends, know this obviously, but I would like to start a second channel and just make one video every once in a while that I put a lot of time and energy into, make something kind of bigger and longer, I think, something a little bit more documentarian, and develop those skills. So some of the videos like this one are going to be experimenting with some things I'd like to put in there without going so far as to actually launch that channel. And we'll talk more about that at some point. Put that right back there. But that leads into secret project number 1, which is a documentary. It's a documentary that I've been working on for 2 years now in secret, thus secret project number 1. Secret project number 1 as a moniker or as a name it was interchanged between 2 different projects at one point, one of which I completely quit last year. And they were just kind of both on and off again. And so I just kind of kept interchanging those 2 for the same thing. But really it's stuck with the documentary now. It's just the documentary. The documentary itself has a lot of like science involved, self-experimentation. I actually started right before lockdown last year. Like I started researching and getting ready for it, but like I actually started the process of the experiments and so forth right before lockdown, which made it very complicated and interesting in its own right. And that's why my energy level is a little bit lower today. I had last year, when I kind of called it off for a little while, I had a pretty big disappointment. This year, it's all been ups. Like everything's gone very, very well with everything. I made some modifications to how I was doing everything. Everything started panning out. It was kind of crazy. And so I finally hit the limit of that where like, okay, it's over. It's over a little bit sooner than expected. Yeah, and so I'm just kind of like sitting here thinking about that, and I guess I'm just processing that a little bit. It's been a really long road. It's been really, really challenging. And now I'm coming up to a point where basically I need money for it. And I've talked to some producers, some friends. It's really hard to find your way into the traditional production sphere. I have one more producer to talk to that thankfully Paul introduced me to, Paul Taylor. And Lindsay introduced me to one of hers. I've been introduced to a few people along the way who thankfully I've been introduced to, but like finding the right mix, the right person is actually really a lot harder than I knew it was going to be hard, but it just feels like a very opaque system. So that feels really daunting. And I think The goal really is, if we can't get it produced in a traditional way, which is kind of, I would like to do because I feel like that adds a lot of validity and a lot of, it's just a stamp of approval to something that's, a little bit outside of the realm of what I've done before. It would add quality and it would add, a little bit of a point of validation. I would like to take it that route and get it distributed through a traditional distributor. Not traditional now, but like ideally through like a Netflix or something like that. But if that doesn't happen, my hope is that with the second channel that I'm hoping to do and the skills that I hopefully add over the course of like the 6 videos that I would commit to doing on that channel, that by the end of that, I would have both the time and the money saved up that I could just do it on my own. So, and the experience. So if I could just put together the skills that I need. Pushan's already helped film some. My buddy Nick has helped film some. Mark has been, who you might remember, my buddy Mark Shrime, who is a doctor, surgeon, researcher, scientific guru, has been my scientific advisor on the project. Lindsay has been advising some, and I have a handful of people that I'm really lucky to have around me. I worked for CNRS, if you remember, the National Scientific Research Division here in Paris for a number of years, translating scripts and doing voice acting. And so I've been around enough to feel like I could give it an honest try. And hopefully by that point, I'd be really ready to do that. But I also would like to involve, a team here, like an actual professional team that has their own financing as well. It would be really nice. But if I have to figure that out, I will. It just feels like money is kind of the barrier to a lot of these projects, so I'll tell you a little bit about secret project number 2. And sorry, I'm keeping these still kind of vague and secret, but there's reasons. Secret project number 1, especially because what the scientific thing I've been doing, I want in interviews, when I talk to people about it, I want to get their genuine reactions to it. I want to see what they actually think on camera when they find out about it after getting their expertise and their opinions and everything out of them. Just like getting a real interview, I want to then be able to tell them what I've been up to and see the reaction, which when you see the movie, assuming this movie ever gets made, will make total sense. So that's why that one has to stay a secret. It's just a production process thing. And then, we can probably talk about it before it actually comes out. And if I tell you anyone about it, it will be you, and it will be here in a members only video. So secret project number 2. Secret project number 2 is, it's something I've also been working on for a long time. Ironically, it's not secret project number 1, but I don't know how I ended up naming these things. It's an idea that I had like 6 or 7 years ago for an app, and that I've always wanted to make. I've never been able to find the right person to help me with. I'm also not a very experienced collaborator, so I'm genuinely nervous in bringing people into my projects, which I think is one of my weaknesses. It's something I'm working on, and thankfully I've developed some really good friendships in the last couple of years that have helped me to overcome some of that fear. But just some past stuff as far as like feeling like I didn't want to risk being associated with the wrong kinds of people at the wrong times, because I feel like that's kind of happened, and especially since my brand is so personal and you're actually getting to know me, that I don't want to be too closely associated in people's minds to certain people along the way, and I have not always known how to navigate that. And I think I'm getting better about that. But just like I'm learning to collaborate with some of these people on secret project number 1, secret project number 2 is an app for you visiting Paris and making it an interesting and more fun experience than you would have had otherwise. And especially for people who have come here multiple times or who live here and need something to do that's more fun and different and gets you out and helps you to appreciate the city in a new way that you never have before. It is for that. And I've wanted to do it forever. I never really had the resources, and I always kind of just put it on the back burner. Like I would think about it at different times. I tried to learn how to program twice. I was trying to try to learn how to build it in Unity. I was learning C#. I made some progress, but I'm also not a programmer, and where I think I could learn how to do that, I think my time and my effort is better spent elsewhere, theoretically, especially in the production of the content for this particular app. I don't know if I just gave away part of what it is. I probably did, and that's okay. I don't think I have to keep it a secret. However, I would like to wait to tell you about it until it's in a place where I can actually start to share it. And the cool thing is that Patreon came to me like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, and they said they were launching quietly and kind of privately launching this program to give creators that showed a stable income an advance against their earnings, so that if they had a big project they wanted to do, they could actually basically take out a loan in order to afford that up front, and then they would just take that out of your wages after that, depending on how you decided to set up the repayment plan. I told them no, because I didn't, for one, I wasn't ready. I didn't have anything in mind. But then we got to a point where I was like, okay, like I got connected with a development studio through a friend that I really like. I think they're really good guys. I just kind of it felt like it was the right time. And I, as you may know, really enjoy launching myself into projects and trying to be, I'm very ambitious and I like to shoot for the moon. And so I kind of was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's give this a try. So kind of mapped everything out. I budgeted everything, got it all figured out. I made a prototype on my own in Figma. It's this web app that you can use. It's kind of like a fancy slideshow that you can kind of build out what a program might feel like. It's really powerful. It's really cool. So I used that to prototype. And then we made an MVP together with this development studio that was uneditable, but the work they put into it was something they could build off of later. So we tested it out to make sure that it was going to be cool and actually fun and interesting. And then we got into the alpha phase, which is where my budget was going to run out. That was my limit, and that was fine. So I set up this budget for some art, really cool artwork, a lot of little pieces to just put it together, test it, make sure it was fun. Everything was going to be just fine until I got a gnarly tax letter from the French government saying, for one, that some of the money that I thought they had been taking out of my account, they had not taken out of my account. And then also with COVID and the way that the French accounting system works, basically they wanted, I guess I might as well just share the actual figure. They basically wanted 31,000 euros, which I don't have. And I will not have anytime soon. And so I didn't mean for this to be what I was talking about today, but basically we've been able to work it out with them so that I'm on a payment plan with them, and it's all gonna be fine. It's gonna be tight, but it's gonna be fine. But the reason that I bring it up is because that killed development prematurely. So we don't have the finished alpha yet, and I was hoping to be testing that by now with friends and some local people here to start, really testing it, iterating it. And I want to do it right. I want to take it slow, and I want to make sure that it is the best, most fun possible thing it can be. But it was a real wake-up call for me in getting that gnarly tax letter. I think I referenced it in a video recently, and I forgot to put it in a video, but I think for whatever reason that clip didn't make it in. It was a really good wake-up call. It was very, very stressful at first, incredibly stressful. And it's one of those things that at some point I'll make a video about like opening a business in France and some of the expectations that are different, because in my mind, in the States, the way that like the entity that I have works, I'd be operating at a loss, which is fine because I'm investing everything back into my business. And then it would come out in the wash, the way that I had done the math. And then I've learned that the way the French system works is not at all that way. And I did not understand that well enough. I still don't fully understand it. I understand it much better, and I've done a lot of research. I've talked to a lot of tax lawyers and accountants and had a lot of meetings and really tried to nail this out and figure out what the best path forward is. But all that to say that it came as a gnarly shock. Yeah, and a wake-up call, because I realized that I was putting all this time and effort into other things than YouTube as well. And since I'm not fully recovered from burning out, like I'm getting there, maybe it's just the pandemic, maybe it's the way that we all feel from the pandemic. It's persistent, it's pervasive, it's never going to, I don't want to say what I was about to say, but you know what I mean. Like, it just feels like it's weighing on all of us. So there's a good chance that has a lot to do with it. Anyways, I just was like, I've never taken the time to stop and just focus on YouTube because, and I talked about this in that other vlog, when I started YouTube, YouTube was a side project when I was working on all these other things and struggling to survive. Eventually, YouTube became the thing that actually could pay my bills. And I thought, okay, I'm going to jettison these things and focus on being a creator, but then overcorrected and started doing other projects to add on to that because I couldn't just do one thing. I obviously have to do lots of things. Otherwise, who am I? What am I? Clearly not a valuable human being if I don't just sit and enjoy one thing at a time. So this was, for me, a very big wake-up call where I was like, okay, my income has been reduced by Patreon just for taking out that loan. And thank you so much for making that possible. If you're watching this, you made that possible, which is amazing. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity. And then the French government wants a little bit more out of me. And so I'm just kind of like, and so let's just put it all on hold and focus on making videos for a while, because I don't know, I took it very much as a wake up call to say, hey, like you're overextending yourself again. You're doing too many projects. Ironically, because I was already doing these and I'm not adding anything new. I've been working on these, like I said, for the last few years at least, but maybe it would be best if you just focused on YouTube, because you like doing YouTube. It's what pays the bills. And I want to find my way back into that first and foremost, and then we can see what happens after that. So in summary, and I hope you don't mind these members only videos being somewhat long, because I just feel like it's good to keep you up to date with what's going on behind the scenes, and to thank you so much for, again, being here, because I think I don't want to express this whole situation as though like it's I'm in trouble, because I don't think I am. I mean, there could come another surprise or two along the way that could really be shocking and put me in another spot. However, for the moment, I feel fine. I definitely it's been a stressful period. It's been difficult, but I feel like it's forced me to learn some things, and it's also been really good to help me reprioritize and to remember that I cannot sprint straight into doing too much again. I need to take my time. And I think it's hard too, because like you go from seeing like a YouTube channel, and I'm sure many of you, if you watch a lot of YouTube, you probably heard a lot of YouTubers talk about the ups and downs of creating on YouTube. And you see periods of growth, you see periods of decline, you see things move and you see things stagnate, and it can really mess with you. And so trying to figure out how I continue to engage in a way that is both healthy but going somewhere, I guess, is a big part of it. And I think that this whole situation has just been a reminder, like, hey, like maybe you should focus on that for now. Like this is a really big thing you should be figuring out first. And then we can go from here. So secret project number 1 today, thankfully, does bring that kind of to a wrap. It brings it to a nice plateau where like we can just kind of shelve it. I'll come back to it to put together a rough cut of it. We can assess. If I find people and funding and whatever else, then maybe we can move forward with it. And I think it'd be a very interesting one. And because it would require some travel, it would be very fun to vlog around. I think it'd be really, really cool to make vlogs about that and share that with you and share the process of making a documentary with you and so forth. So I think that provides a lot of content for the vlog. It's not something that I can't do. Similarly with secret project number 2, you know, when I'm able to get back to that, I think it could do some of those things. But I'm also more reluctant to go really into that because I think it requires a lot more time and focus than would enable me to do both that and YouTube in my current state, if that makes sense. So that one's getting a lot more backburnered for now. And thankfully, before I spent all the money in my budget, I was able to stop development and then, you know, put that money towards making sure the French government doesn't just take everything away from me, which would be good. Also, thankfully, they're not the IRS. They're not as harsh. We'll be able to work it out, and it will be fine. Gosh, I feel like this is one of the reasons I didn't want to share it either, because I don't want to stress anybody else out with this, because it's my own fault ultimately for not really making sure that I truly understood how the French system worked. But one of the tax lawyers I talked to, who's been here doing taxes with Americans for 40 years, said he was just like, URSAF, which is the office, the charges office that is sending me these bills. He was like, yeah, they bankrupt more people and more businesses in this country than anyone else. And I feel like it's all, taxes aside, because we all have to pay taxes, it's all in how they do the accounting. And as I better understand that and get myself out from under this, I will share that story from the other side and everything I learned. But I take full responsibility for that. I definitely could and should have known better. But it's been a really good and strong reminder of how I want to also, like, you want to come up here? The delightful period of financial stability that I enjoyed before investing heavily in this project. And I look forward to going back to some level of that. And thank you for being a big part of it. I really appreciate you being here, because I'd never had that before. Patreon in particular gave that to me, and you're a huge part of that. So thank you a million times for that. I'm going back to it as soon as humanly possible. And the hope is that I can, I'll just get my feet back underneath me, and that'll lead to some really fun stuff next year. It just means it's going to be a slow few months. Hopefully not more than a slow 6 months of, more modest content. Huh, buddy? Which I look forward to getting to the road tripping. So there's a cat right here. That's who I'm talking to here. I'll show you. Just so you know that I'm not totally crazy. There you go, buddy. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I mean, the road tripping and stuff like that, travel, all of that kind of expensive. So we'll get back to that eventually. But that's also one of the reasons I'm really excited to do the road trip planning with you, something we could have talked about by now too, because it gives me something to look forward to. And it gives me something to plan for and to budget for and to figure out. And once we get everything figured out as far as, the cost of that combined with the cost of building a very rickety ladder out of the situation, then we should be able to hit the road. And there's a lot of fun stuff I want to do. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons learned is like, I gotta figure out what my priorities are, which I'm figuring out, but I gotta figure out what my priorities are and then be smarter about it, I guess. I don't know. I'm getting distracted because there's a cat in my lap. Huh, buddy? I mean, he's happy enough to be here. Aren't you, Leo? That's definitely, I think it's important to share that with you though too, because it's definitely a big drain on it has been a huge drain on my energy and I don't know, it's just a big stressor and it affects the videos that I make. And I noticed that, like even the opening of my last vlog about the apps, I was just like, man, I should have reshot that. My energy level was really low at the very beginning. I got it back up. But yeah, it's having an effect for sure. But I think I'm gonna get it sorted out. And most of the time, I actually am not stressing out about it at all. I really feel like it's gonna work out. I've learned a lot. I've talked to a lot of good people about it. And it's just a matter of time now. Hopefully. Do you wanna talk about books, Leo? Should we talk about books? Also drains on energy. One of the books I'm reading, I only have one of them with me right now, I think. There's one, Lindsay has the physical version of one up there that I can grab. One of them is, it's pretty intense. This gets me a lot of looks when I'm in cafes and so forth. It's called Men Who Hate Women. I'm reading this. I'm reading a few books, but this one is basically about online cultures of misogynists, basically, I suppose, and how their rhetoric and the way that they approach the internet infiltrates the rest of our world and infects our discourse and also affects the way that we just talk about men and women. Whew, it's heavy. It's really dark. I think it's very important reading, and I've recognized a lot of internet culture, a lot of things I've come into contact with. I've learned a lot from it and would highly recommend it if you have the time and the stomach for it. And as a man in particular, it's really eye-opening. I already know, because I know a lot of women that live their lives on the internet and just live life in this world. So I'm aware of a lot of the things that women face, but I think that it's really eye-opening in terms of the reality of it in some ways that I don't think I really ever connected with as well as I am now because of this. The other books I'm reading, there's a Napoleon one up there that, what's the cat? I'm in that stage where you don't want to disrupt the cat's good time. I don't want to mess with you, buddy. It's a biography on Napoleon that's really good. I've been reading that for a long time, on and off. It's really, really good. Look at this monster. It's huge. And so good. Buddy Dorian recommended that. I also feel like I'm learning a lot about how the systems, the bureaucracy of France has been set up, where it made sense back then, and it's just been layered on top of ever since, and it doesn't make a lot of sense anymore, and it makes my life kind of miserable, thanks Napoleon. But he did some stuff that was good as well. He's a mixed bag. Napoleon's definitely a mixed bag. And then I'm reading two other books. I'm reading, because I'm almost finished with this one, I read a good portion of God and Anatomy, which is an interesting book on, I guess you would say Mesopotamian gods, but leading into the evolution of the understanding of Yahweh in the Judeo-Christian tradition, which is something I haven't engaged with for a long time in any way, but I find fascinating, and I find all of this history stuff fascinating, including another one that's kind of related, which is Guns, Germs, and Steel, which, if you're familiar with the book Sapiens, is the book that he says, the author of Sapiens says is his favorite. And it's a book basically just asking the questions, why did civilizations grow and advance the way that they did at the paces they did in the places they did over the course of history. And I've learned a ton from that too. I already knew about this, but it kind of blew my mind again, because I only learned about it recently, was the megafauna of Australia. Did you know about the megafauna of Australia? Like marsupials that are the size of elephants, things like that? Oh my gosh. I'm just fascinated by that. I hope you can see that I'm rubbing his tummy right now. I don't know how zoomed in I am. He's definitely loving his life. And then what's the other book? I just finished, I think I told you about Awareness by Anthony DeMello, which is that's kind of what's reopened me to the idea of engaging with spirituality again, which has been really good. I feel like there's one other book that I'm forgetting. Are you gonna fall out? Are you gonna fall on the floor here? Careful. Oh, I showed you. I think in my vlog, I just got the book Immunity by the creator of Kurzgesagt. Oh, he's gonna fall. Don't fall. And I cannot wait to read that either. I used to be a one book person, but I think that works best with fiction. I think with nonfiction, I've really started to enjoy juggling books and kind of picking up whichever one it works best in the moment. Like I'm reading one of them on my phone. I'm reading this one in paperback. It makes for a really nice really nice mixture. Anyways, I had no idea what to expect for my first members only vlog. I wanted to do a little bit of a garage monologue style vlog, open up a little bit, let you know what's going on, what I'm struggling with, but also, yeah, what I'm reading, and let you know it's all good. It's all going to be good. And thank you for being here. I'm really, really, really grateful that you are here. And I hope that this was satisfying in its own way. And if you liked it, let me know, and I will continue to do these. I think once a month. I think I'll do a members only vlog once a month, because I miss it. I miss vlogging more. I just want to be careful about how I go about getting back into it. But I also want to give you more perks, here and there, because I think one of the other challenges. I'll end on this. One of the reasons, because also I'm getting covered in cat hair. One of the reasons that I want to do this is because I recognize that I built Patreon in particular around my daily vlogging, and that was kind of the rewards and everything were hinged on that with the polls and all that. And everything's had to change. And I just want to make sure that you feel like you're getting the bang for your buck. And I know, and I very much appreciate that most of you just want me to keep making videos, and that's what you're here for. And it means a world of, it means everything to me. So, but I just want to make sure you know that I appreciate you. And I want to, give back, and I want there to be some good balance. So I won't overdo it. I won't kill myself in producing extra stuff or doing whatever, but there's still loyalty stickers. There's still all kinds of perks. We'll do some road trip planning together. And I think I would like to have a little, I can't promise there will be cats in the future, but I would love to have, just a little bit of a dialogue with you on the side that only you get to see. So that, I believe, is that. Okay, let me get that other book. Down you go, buddy. Oh. See you on regular YouTube, ASAP, but also see you. My phone is ringing. Hold on. Kate Weber. Hey, Kate, what's up?
Hey, I am doing the December and January stickers.
I was actually just finishing up my video to patrons, so.
Oh, perfect. I'm sorry, I called you too because I figured it's easier way to reach you.
You're smart. You're very smart.
I know it is.
It is. You want to say hi to the patrons while you're on the phone?
Oh, hey patrons! Just making coffee while I'm preparing your January and December and January stickers.
Perfect timing. We couldn't have planned that better. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll send it over. I'm at Lindsay's right now, so I don't have my stuff, but as soon as I get home, I'll send it over. She's still helping me out with the mailing, so you should be getting your stickers soon. If you're expecting them for your 6 month, 1 year, or maybe there's a surprise after that too. You never know. And thanks again for being here. It seriously makes all the difference in the world. And I'm honestly, I'm in this happy, healthy place where I couldn't be more grateful for the friends and family that I have, but also for the support that I have from viewers, from subscribers, from patrons, from, I don't want to say fans necessarily, but from fans, from everybody out there. And even as I'm trying to reshuffle my life and figure out how does this work? What does this look like? I cannot stop being so thankful that you're here. So I'll never stop saying thank you for being here, because it's a virtuous cycle. Anyways, see you on YouTube. See you here again next month. See you around.